What's up YouTube? Brandon Relkam here today with a new YouTube video. In this video I will be doing a review of Into the Permafrost from Brainsludge. Before I continue with this video, don't forget to leave a like on the video, don't forget to subscribe, and do not forget to turn on post notifications so you will never miss a video when I upload it. And with that being said, let's get on with this album review. So starting off with some general information about the band. Brainsludge is a black and death metal band out of North Carolina that has been a one-man band up until their most recent release, which is a single. This album that I'll be doing a review of was released on January 6th, 2020, and it was in my Google review form for the music reviews. So if you're a musician, whether you're a solo artist or you're in a band and you're making music, you want to get your music out there while also having somebody review your stuff, hit the first link in the description, fill out the Google form, and I'll get to reviewing that piece of music as soon as possible. So, things I like about this album is that, as a whole, the album was very diverse. Every song was like a different person with a different personality, you know? Some songs were a little bit more upbeat, for lack of a better word. Some were a little bit more slower and sludgier. And some were just flat out brutal. This album was packed with influences from all kinds of genres, such as death metal, black metal, thrash metal, groove metal, etc. So if you're a fan of any of the genres that I just listed, I'll leave a link to Brainsludge's music in an info card now. Go check it out if you want. I strongly suggest that you do. Within this album, I heard, as I just said, influences from various music genres, but I've also heard influences from various bands. I heard influences from Death Clock. I heard a lot of influence from Death Clock. I heard influences from Sodom, Mayhem, Burzum, and various other black metal bands. As well as I heard a little bit of southern groove metal-ish metal. I forgot which song it was. I think it was The Weight of 10,000 Suns that had a lot of groovy musical patterns in it. I really liked the melody and production on this album. Certain songs had a lot of melodic structure in them, for lack of a better word. A lot of the songs had good production. The only song I did not really like the production on was The Weight of 10,000 Suns that I just mentioned. That song had down-tuned guitars, and I thought that the production, the guitar tone, combined with that lower tuning on that song, had a little bit of a muddier sound, which it wasn't too bad, but personally I feel the mixing could have been a little bit better, but I will not hold that against Brainsludge too much. As I was just talking about with the melody, there were certain songs that had a lot of melodic guitar parts, a lot of melodic vocal styles, and speaking of vocals, I forgot which song it was, but the production, as I was talking about, the vocals, clean melodic vocals, were laid over the, how do I describe it, the black metal shrieking, as I'll just put it in simple terms. And I like when bands do that, how they'll overlay clean vocals over screaming, yelling, growling, whatever you want to call it. Things I particularly did not like about this album, as I was talking about with some of the production on certain parts of this album, I thought it was a little bit muddy and could have used improvement. But as I just said before, I won't hold it against the band too much, since not everybody has, $1 million to be spending on producers, mixing and mastering, all that kind of stuff. The guitar tone on some of the songs I was not a big fan of. Like, some songs I digged it, but on some songs I didn't, just because of the song structure and how, like, some of the notes. It's hard to describe, but you know what I'm talking about. It's just the guitar tone did not really mix well with, like, the atmosphere of some of these songs. And another thing that I didn't particularly like about this album was the vocal style. When it comes to the more extreme vocals, if you want to put it that way. I know this is black and death metal, but I'm not a big fan of black metal vocals. And even then, I'm not the biggest fan of black metal as a whole. I'm open to, you know, lots of styles of metal, but when certain bands that how do I put this? When I listen to certain bands of music genres that I have not explored too much, and the bands don't leave a good first impression on me, that kind of alters my view on the genre as a whole, and which I should stop doing that, stop letting, you know, certain bands represent a whole genre when it's not like that in all cases. But long story made short, I wasn't a big fan of the vocals on this album. Out of all the songs, I'd have to pick the title track, Into the Permafrost, as my favorite song on this album, as that song just... I don't know what it was about that song, but it's just... It took all the aspects of what makes a metal song good and just crammed them all together and got that really just amazing title track on that album. As I was talking about with the influences, I heard influences on that song from, of course, Death Clock. Also heard a little bit of Sodom in there, and with the vocals, obviously, as I mentioned before, you know, Mayhem, Burzum, and various other black metal bands. So that's my take on my favorite song of this album. My least favorite song on this album was the first song, Battle Stations, which for the most part was an instrumental, which if my memory serves me right, there were lyrics later on in the song, but it just wasn't my favorite song of the whole album. I can't really explain why, other than I thought it was just kind of like a placeholder, is like an intro to the album per se. I don't know how to describe it, but it just wasn't a song that stuck with me that well. Overall, I give this album a 7 out of 10 rating. The album was not bad. I'm eager to hear more music from Brainsludge. You know, there's a lot of hard work and dedication that was put into this album. Excellent music, excellent musicianship, yada yada yada. Anyways, this was a good album, and I'm excited to hear more music from Brainsludge. So that's my review of Into the Permafrost from Brainsludge. If you liked it, leave a like on it. If you didn't, I don't know what to say. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.